She says, honestly, my cleaning business has been keeping me super busy lately. We've been getting a lot of clients, mostly Airbnb hosts and construction site owners. With this period, it's been crazy. I'm grateful for the work, but it's been tough managing everything with just two assistants. As a mama, too, it's hard to balance work and family life. Some days I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with its head cut off. That's why I'm thinking of hiring more staff next year. How do I handle so many clients? What's the secret, Mike?
The first thing is, what's the goal for the company? And a lot of times, I would say most of the time, owners I talk to almost always have a revenue goal of, I want to hit $1 million, or I want to double, or I want to, whatever the case may be. They shockingly less often have a profit goal. Like, here's how much I'd want to make. And it's just kind of like the assumption of, once I get to this revenue, then I'll have the profit I want. And they generally have some idea of, I want to be free. I want to have freedom. I want this business to give me free, but they don't have a clear, you know what I'm saying? They're not able to articulate what that means. Like, you're working 2 days a week, 7 days a week, 2 hours a day from anywhere, what hours, when hours, like they're not really clear on it. So Sparkle, I would start with, before I give you the answer, like, hey, what's the secret to managing all these clients? It's like, well, I don't know what the goal is, but I'm guessing if we were clear on what your goal was, both in revenue and profit and time spent and the quality of the time spent, like, what do you want to be doing when you're doing the time? Because there's a difference between working 50 hours a week, doing something you love, versus 20 hours a week, doing something you hate. So once we got some clarity on those kind of key topics, then we could go next to, like, okay, what customers will best get us to that goal? And without having gotten to talk to Ms. Sparkle, I can almost guarantee you no goals you're going to have are going to be best served by a combination of Airbnb and post-construction cleanup, right? So if that's the rule, we start with clients just come in and it's a passive thing, and I can't really do anything about which clients come in or if I take them. They all just come and I just have to take them. Boy, I don't know how to, she said it very cute. What's the secret? I'm like, I ain't got no secret for that one. The secret is to pick better clients. Having coached for a decade and been in business for 30 years, I wouldn't coach any owners of cleaning companies to take post-construction cleanups. They're too sporadic. Like, there's just no way you're like, I want to live in a house with a goat and a chicken and a cow, and I'd like it to be on fire. How do I do so without being chaotic? I'm like, I don't know. I would move house. Like, there's really not what to do. So the question is, how do I serve post-construction cleanup clients and Airbnb clients? I don't know if it's exclusively, but that's all she brought up, and not run around like a chicken with my head cut off. I don't know. I wouldn't serve those guys. So the post-construction folks, just because by definition, we got a lot of work right now and then no work for weeks, and managing that on a staffing standpoint and from a cash flow and profit standpoint is really difficult. So I wouldn't recommend that at all. And it's a crapshoot, right? We're betting it's going to take this many hours over the span of time and nothing's going to go wrong. And sometimes we win and sometimes we lose. And I don't like stuff like that. Or recurring revenue, like the Airbnb, if you charge $200 a clean, I get that it's a little sporadic in that, depending on who the renters are, you might have a different, but it's not that there's going to be other construction going on. It's not that, the size or the condo is going to be the same, or the house is going to be the same, whatever you're Airbnb. Just the tenants are only going to be different. So you've got a little bit of a mix, but you have a pretty good idea of what's going to cost. So it generally takes 3 hours if they're real clean and 5 hours if they're not real clean. In a post-construction job, you can literally bid 500 hours and you can take 800. Like, things can just spin right out of control. If my goal was not to be crazy or running around like a chicken with my head cut off, in no circumstance would I do post-construction. Airbnb is not my favorite. I like it as part of a balanced breakfast, right? Like the cereal people, it's a bunch of sugar and carbs. They're like, it's good as part of a balanced breakfast. It's like, yeah, I guess the breakfast is balanced in spite of your bowl of sugar and carbs. I think Airbnb is a lot better than post-construction, but it's still kind of higher on the frustration scale, because there's a lot of, they just got here and something's wrong and we're, and it's fine. So if I'm doing I don't mix residential and commercial. Commercial would be like janitorial, nighttime, nights and weekends, office space. I wouldn't take any Airbnb if I was doing commercial. If I was doing residential, like every other week, I'm going to come to Lindsay's house and, clean it and that kind of a thing. For me personally, I might do 10-20% Airbnb, but I'm not going to have like 80%, because it just, again, post-construction is the most sporadic you can be. I've got a ton of work and I have no work. Airbnb is like that, but over a longer period of time. Like, generally we have the high season and the low season. The high season is this and the low season is that. So it's better than I got 3 days of chaos or a week and then nothing for 2 weeks. And then like, it's better than that, but it's still not as good as I just have 100 Lindsays and I go to her house every week, every other week, maybe once a month. And it's always her house. It's always the same. It's just super easy to build a real business.